The painkiller fentanyl is nothing new, but the drug has become a lot more prevalent since the pandemic started.
Several studies say it's the #1 killer of people between the ages of 18 and 45 nationwide. Now, Texas lawmakers, school district officials, and parents are doing what they can to try and stop this crisis from taking more lives.
KVUE's Ford Sanders joins us in the studio tonight to look at what's really being done to combat fentanyl's lethal impacts. Hi, Ford.
Quita, Brian, all the groups I spoke with say dealing with the opioid epidemic requires a multifaceted approach. And as fentanyl takes more lives, activists on a variety of fronts want to make it clear that fentanyl can kill you, whether you know you're taking it or not. It may look like any other school presentation. Parents gather in an auditorium, school officials greet them and guide them through the night's plans. But for Round Rock ISD families, this meeting is a wake-up call.
What I'm hoping is that people are at home with their kids, where they're comfortable in their own house, and are sharing these conversations.
Conversations that can typically be uncomfortable. Brandy Hafner with the district says these talks need to happen sooner rather than later. The district is making sure parents know the dangers of fentanyl and what they're doing to address it. Hafner says the district's previously had a hard time getting naloxone, a life-saving drug better known as Narcan.
It's a large endeavor to make sure that our 6,500 staff members have the training necessary.
Round Rock ISD is helping pave the way for opioid response in Texas schools, but they're just a piece of the puzzle.
18 months ago, I lost my 19-year-old son to one illicit Percocet pill purchased on social media.
She took a pill thinking she was going to wake up the next morning and go to work, and she didn't. It killed her instantly.
Two parents, two kids who didn't know each other, suffered similar fates. Governor Greg Abbott hosted the One Pill Kills Summit in April. He invited families, doctors, advocates, and more to speak on the tragic reality tied to fentanyl. Veronica Caprosi lost her daughter Danica to a fentanyl poisoning after taking a pill that she had no idea was laced with the lethal drug.
Through text messages, I read where, she got introduced to a Xanax or a Percocet, realized that it helped her with sleep and it helped her with body pain, and so she started taking Percocets.
Caprosi says it's now time for the state to step up and increase awareness around fentanyl poisonings because Danica's case was no overdose.
This is an American problem. It's not red, it's not blue, it's American.
Governor Abbott announcing the state is stepping up to the plate.
Texas today is launching a $10 million multimedia campaign to educate Texans how to prevent, recognize, and reverse fentanyl poisoning in Texas.
And the state is sending naloxone to every county in Texas. At the state capitol, lawmakers are working through opioid-related legislation. They're considering dozens of bills that range from the legalization of fentanyl testing strips to allowing prosecutors to charge drug dealers with murder.
We are going to start prosecuting them for giving these lethal doses, causing serious bodily injury where the courts have not been able to prosecute them.
But others say fighting this crisis is also about treatment.
It's a multifunctional room, but this is primarily where we have our intensive outpatient.
Staff at Phoenix House in Austin focus on the care and recovery of teens and adolescents.
We're able to offer a wide variety of services, all the way from outpatient through our inpatient residential treatment centers.
The rehab works with families, meeting them where they are to make sure things like cost aren't a barrier. For Susanna Huffman, she says the earlier the intervention, the better.
I think a lot of that has to do with the stigma around wanting to get support for a substance use disorder, that it has to be an extreme event to be able to reach out and get help, and ideally we don't want that to happen.
She says a lot of people hesitate to seek help for an addiction or exposure to opioids. And some parents and teens worry about things like, how long will I be here? Or how will my kid keep up in school? All things Phoenix House takes into account.
So we have teachers from Austin Independent School District that have been able to teach our youth from an individualized standpoint. We really promote individualized treatment. So while we have an average length of stay of several months, just because it does take a long time to really get through that initial, post-acute withdrawal symptoms. This area is beautiful and I love it. Our kids love basketball. They get really competitive with it.
They also try to make sure kids in treatment don't feel stuck. offering sports and even a recording studio to give them different outlets.
We want to be able to give them a variety of different platforms to express themselves as they're healing, as they're going through their recovery journey, and this is just one of them that they really attach to.
Huffman says have the conversations, get through the discomfort, because you never know where someone is in their journey to recovery.
In order to have those conversations, you need to believe that it exists, that it's a very real threat to not just a certain group of students or people, but it's a risk to everybody.
Each saying as long as fentanyl claims lives, they won't stop this fight. And we touched on some of the legislation that state lawmakers are considering to tackle this session. Now, one bill, HB 85, would legalize fentanyl testing strips, but it's been left pending in committee so far. The bill that would step up punishments for fentanyl dealers, SB 645, has gotten through the Senate, but hasn't gotten through a House committee just yet. Quita, Brian.
We'll see how it plays out over the next few weeks. KVUE's Ford Sanders live in the studio with us tonight. Great story. Thanks, Ford.